Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Madhumita Joshi. I'm Director of Postdoctoral Success. And this is our Postdoctoral Affairs Seminar series. And these seminars we do on demand based on postdoctoral fellows' need and interest. And today's topic is tax filing. So I'm honored to introduce our speaker, Ms. Nana. She is our Director of Payroll, and I guess Rosa is here too. She's also an payroll analyst. And we are really thankful, Nana and Rosa, to be here and helping our postdocs, because this is such a very important and critical topic to how to file tax. And this is the time of taxation, tax filing. And especially for international students, it is really difficult to understand all the things. So Nana always accept our request, and last year also she came and helped all our postdoc, walk them through all the process, and then whoever has specific question, she answered. So thank you again, Nana. Nanaya Soka, sorry for the name, for accepting our invitation and being here today. And you can take from here.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having us here to discuss something that happens once in a year, and we give as much information as we can. First and foremost, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. We are not tax professionals. We are payroll professionals who give the international students or scholars tax guidance, since it is new to them and they don't know what to do. The only authorization we have is to give guidance on how to file your taxes, what you are eligible for, and what we use in determining your eligibility and all that. I think Cynthia has the slide. I don't know if you want me to share mine or you want to share the one I sent to you.
I gave you access so you can share. That was easier for you.
Okay. Let's see here. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So as we got introduced by Dr. Joshi, this is Nenaya Ikwabu, Director of Payroll Services, and I have Rosa Casas, Senior Payroll Analyst, and the go-to person when it regards to NRA and finding your temporary IDs, and there's a lot she does behind the scenes. Today we're going to go through this overview and talk about, let's see if I can hide this. We're going to talk about how we determine the non-resident alien, how they receive payments, what kind of payment they receive, what taxes can be taken, identifying the tax residency, if you're a resident alien or non-resident alien, the types of payments that are taxed or not taxed, the kinds of exemptions that you're entitled to, and types of forms that that is applicable to all the NRAs. We'll briefly talk about temporary ID and SSN. And finally, we'll talk about glacier and glacier tax prep. So who is a non-resident alien? A non-resident alien is an individual in the US who holds a visa. So in other words, whoever is not a US citizen or a permanent resident in the United States. There are a lot of visa types that we have that people use in coming into the country, but the common one that is applicable to the group I'm talking to is the F visa, J1 visa, H1B, M1, and the Q visas. Here it says we have 4 definitions, but it's pretty much 3 definitions. The non-resident alien and non-resident alien for tax purposes is one item. The non-resident alien for tax purposes. So if you have the F1 visa, J1 visa, sometimes the H1B, because it's a period of time before they become resident alien for tax purposes. And the M visa, Q visa, any student visa, and you are here for less than 5 years, you're regarded as a non-resident alien for tax purposes. So what that means is that how you are being taxed is different from a person who has stayed here with F visa or J1 visa for more than 5 years. You're taxed differently. Unless you have a tax treaty you're exercising, then that's a different situation. But if you are here and your country does not have a tax treaty, and you've been here for more than 5 years with the J1 visa, student visa, or F1 student visa, or M1 student visa, any of the student visas, you will be taxed differently. You have a higher tax rate compared to every other person. Those who are resident alien for tax purposes are those who have met their substantial presence test here in the US. What that means is that you have stayed in the US more than 5 years as a student visa holder, and your tax filing is now categorized as that of a US resident, or that the way a US citizen files their taxes, and so on and so forth. So US resident are those who are US citizens or nationals or permanent residents, or those who got in here as a asylee or refugee because they have been given permanent residence like almost immediately. So this is the category here being put in a simple way that everybody will understand. So F1 visa, M1 visa as a student, J1 as a student, whether you're doing your bachelor's, doctorate, you're intern, you're doing master's, once you hit 5 years. So 5 years is not, the way it's calculated is different. So some people will say, oh, but this is my 5th year. Yes, but if in 2024, for example, was your 4th year, you are still going to be treated that way until 2025 is your 5th year, until August of this year. Then your tax status will change. The only one that changes from the 1st of January is Social Security and Medicare taxes. So once the Social Security, once you hit that 5th year, the 1st of January, you're no longer eligible for exemption for Social Security and Medicare taxes. but other taxes that is applicable to you will still go on until the August of that year that you're gonna be here for 5 years. So you're still eligible to file your taxes as a non-resident alien until that, when you get into that 6th year, that's when everything from the January to December will just be like you were never once a non-resident alien. So for those with the J1 research scholar and other categories under J1, you only have 2 years to be exempted from taxes, either FICA, or if your country has a treaty, you can only use it for 2 years exactly. And once you exercise that, like the J1 scholars from India, exactly at 2 years, if they stay past the 2nd year, all the taxes that was exempted from them, they will have to pay it back. So somebody from France, only one time you can't exercise. Once you've used that 2 years, you can come back and say, oh, yes, previous years I was a J1 research scholar, I had tax treaty, and after many years I came back as a J1 research scholar to do some things. That one time you exercise that tax treaty, that's it. You won't be able to take tax treaty exemption again. For the Chinese citizens, it's different. They actually can exercise their tax treaty for 3 years as a J1 research scholar, unless they change their status within the United States from F1 to J1 without traveling out of the country for a period of 1 year. They will not be eligible for any tax treaty. So on this area, we are identifying the type and sources of income. So these are what is applicable to the student. So federal income tax and state income tax is when you're being paid wages or salary from payroll. So you get taxed federal income tax, state income tax, and the Medicare and Social Security taxes. So for a student less than 5 years, you should see that you are exempted from Medicare and Social Security taxes. But if you are a J1 scholar, you only have 2 years. So some of you are going to receive an email. There was an email I was supposed to have sent out before today's paycheck, but I didn't send it. So there's an email I'm going to send out to the J1 research scholars, because some of them already have stayed that 2 years and no longer eligible for FICA taxes. So it will revert to subject. The scholarship and federal fellowship withholding taxes, taxes that is being taken from, if you're receiving scholarship, you're receiving fellowship, that has a default tax rate of 14%. The only people that may not see those taxes come out of their scholarship they receive are those who have tax treaty. Those who will see it are those who do not have tax treaty. Any royalties or honorarium or consultant fee or award, like if you receive a prize money or something like that, all these are taxable. Some countries have tax treaty that make it impossible to tax you on this category, while some don't. For example, my Chinese students will have a tax treaty on their salary or their wages of $5,000. The first $5,000 for the year that they receive is tax-free. If they are being given money through scholarship, they are receiving stipend, the whole of that money they receive is tax-free. But if they did some work as a consultant or did some speaking engagement, or they received prize money, that is taxable at 30%. And that applies also to the students from Bangladesh. I'm supposed to have tax treaty and all that stuff. Well, when it comes to honorarium or being a consultant, or you're receiving prizes or royalties or something like that, under the last category, is taxable. The next slide shows like a table of what I just said. So salaries, wages, other compensation is taxed based off of where the services was performed. So if you are here in the United States and working with the university and getting paid through payroll, unless you have a tax treaty that is between your country and the United States, you're going to be taxed. Unfortunately, for the salaries, we don't have a certain or default percentage for that. What we have is like a table or a default table of how it's being calculated and set up in the system. And for the NRAs, you're taxed higher than every other person. The reason is because when you file taxes, as we are in the tax season right now, you don't get into that situation where you have to pay back taxes. It's kind of like a consideration from IRS to make sure that the students are not being pressured in paying back taxes. So for us to know, because most of the time we don't even know who are international students unless they are needing a temporary ID and they never had social security number before, and they're trying to get them something to set them up in the system. So some of you that did transfer from other schools, there's no way we will know that you are an international student if you don't let us know. So our advice is usually that you let us know, and so that we'll make sure we are taxing you correctly and don't get questions or you being angry with us that we never taxed you, now you are owing and all that stuff. So we are here to help you. All we need is an email to our payroll email address, which is payroll@utsa.edu, letting us know, hey, I'm a transfer student, international student from this, and this is when I came to the United States as an F1 or whatever the student visa is, and I would like to make sure that I'm being taxed correctly. This will help us make sure if you are from a country that has tax treaty, we'll make sure that you exercise the tax treaty correctly. And again, one thing I forgot to mention on that area is that if you are an international student and you, for some reason, you have to go back to your country and you are still working for the department, but you are not here in the United States, kindly let us know, because we are not supposed to charge you taxes on your pay that you are receiving. Payroll needs to know, because we need to make sure that we are taxing you correctly and we are not being burdened to pay taxes on your behalf when we are not supposed to. So the next one is tax treaty FICA and other tax exemptions. So if you're from these countries that are mentioned here, which is just a few of the countries that we have that has tax treaty with United States, there are different categories of tax treaty that you have. For example, China and Bangladesh has both tax treaty on salaries and also tax treaty on scholarships or fellowship. But Pakistan has tax treaty only on salary, it doesn't have tax treaty on scholarship. So likewise, Canada has a limit. Canada, you have to, the only amount you receive in a calendar year is 10,000. If that's the only amount you're going to get paid in the whole year, then as a salary, then that will be tax-free. But if you're going to receive more than 10,000 in a year, there's no tax treaty. For the Indian students, they don't have tax treaty when they're receiving their paycheck. But when they're filing their taxes, that's when they have a tax treaty that is like their personal exemption or standard deduction. Every other country, I don't think currently, even in the United States as citizens, we don't have personal exemptions anymore. But the Indian students have that standard deduction that help reduce them being, paying back taxes. But it depends on how much you make as an Indian student that is getting paid for the year. And that's the only time they're able to have tax treaty. Then the J1 research scholars have 100% tax treaty, but you have to be in the country for only 2 years. So if it gets extended, you have to pay back all those taxes. So the agreements are all different. Some countries like Philippines, Spain, and Indonesia have a certain amount for both, no, for the salaries. So for Spain, they have 5,000 in salary that is tax exempt, but for their scholarship, 100% on their scholarship. Then the student FICA exemption. This is applicable to all students with whatever visa type you have, but under student visas, you have FICA exemption within the 5 years. Once you have passed that 5 years, you're no longer eligible for FICA exemption unless you're taking some credit hours, which is the last one. You're taking some credit hours per semester that is eligible, that makes you eligible to be FICA exempt. So, but the difference between the two of them is that as an F1 student or J1 student, or as an international student, the difference between the credit hours taken per semester is that you, with the visa holder less than 5 years, can be reimbursed your FICA if it was taken during the year. But if it's for the one with the credit hours, so you've been here more than 5 years, you're still a student, and you're taking the required classes, you will be exempted. But if FICA was taken from you, IRS will not reimburse it back to you if you're trying to get it back from them. The travel reimbursement for representing school. So most of you go from time to time, travel to go do some presentation on behalf of the school. When you come back, they're giving you travel reimbursement. Those travel reimbursement is regarded as an income once it's given to you. But because you are representing the school, you will not be taxed. But if you travel because of it has to do with your paper, it has to do with your thesis, everything that is personal to you and not representing, you're not going on behalf of the school. Every travel you do, like you go for conferences and it has to do with you writing your paper and others, and you come back and the school reimburses you for that travel, that is taxable. And that will be taxed if that gets to us. Most of the time when that is not reported to us, sometimes they tell us, oh no, it's they're representing the school and stuff like that. Every travel reimbursement for your personal use is taxable, is regarded as an income. Now we're talking about types of tax reporting forms that is applicable to you. So some of you may say, now we're in tax season. What is it that I am required to receive to file my taxes? If you are from a country that did not have any tax treaty, or there was no tax treaty that was exercised on your paycheck, the only thing you're going to receive, and you don't get paid, you don't get scholarship or any other thing, excuse me, you only get paid through payroll. You're going to receive a W-2 and that's it. But if you had scholarship during the year, maybe at one point you were receiving scholarship payments, stipends and stuff like that, and you got taxed on that, and later in the year you said, you know what, I want to be a GRA, they decide to make you a TA or GRA and you're getting paid through payroll, you're going to receive both W-2 and 1042S. If you got paid honorarium and we taxed your honorarium, or it was tax-free because of tax treaty, or you got paid as a student from Bangladesh and you got tax treaty $8,000 first, then you got taxed later, you're going to receive both W-2 and 1042 because the 8,000 is going to be reported on your 1042S. And the remaining money that you receive for the rest of the year that was taxed will be reported on W-2. So you'll be needing both forms. If you had travel reimbursement that was taxed, or you were a consultant some part of the year and you got taxed, or you were a speaker and you got taxed, you're going to receive 1042S. If you never worked and all you received was scholarship or fellowship and it was taxed or not taxed, because you're not taxed because you're from tax treaty country, you're going to receive a 1042S. For 1099, is usually some of the students that receive 1099, those probably they went and did some internship and they got paid through accounts payable. They didn't pay them through payroll. They paid them like contractors, independent contractors, or they exercise. I don't know if this year, with all the changes going on, I don't know if this year there's any 1099 that will be going out to those who exercise stocks. I'm not sure what the format is going to be for this year. But if you receive the 1099 and you're still using Glacier to GTP to file your taxes, you will see if the type of 1099 you received will be there, because it's not expected that a non-resident alien should receive all 3 documents. Is not an expectation, but it can happen. And all these 3 documents is not applicable to every NRA. So some you know based off of what I just said. So if you see that somehow tax treaty was exercised on your pay, you're going to receive a 1042-S. The only people that may not receive W-2 and they worked are those that are J1 research scholars from China, from India, and I think from France, as many as the countries that has the J1 research scholar that have tax treaty, and you worked through payroll, you may or may not have W-2. The reason why is that if you have a W-2, that means at one point your tax treaty ended and the rest of the year you had taxes come out of your paycheck. But if you're new as a J1 research scholar and you were receiving payments through payroll, you're going to have only 1042-S because it's going to report all the payments that was paid to you throughout the year that was not taxed. Most of you are going to receive an email by the end of the week. For those of you who are in Glacier, once the 1042-S is ready. The temporary ID and SSN. Rosa insists that we put this in every presentation we make because we just want to make sure that we do not get ourselves in trouble with Social Security Administration. Once you are a new student, international student or research scholar, or whatever the case may be that brings you here, and you do not have Social Security number to start working, temporary IDs was created so that we would be able to set you up in the system and get you up and running with work and making sure you get paid. Because we know that the Social Security number takes a while for it to get back to you once you go to the SSN office to get yourself registered. So in the past, we've had where our NRAs will take the paper we give to them and give it to the SSA officials. So this got us almost in trouble where the SSA, I will call them the SSA police, literally called UTSA and they were really, really angry with us because they felt that the numbers we were given are actual SSN numbers to some people. So it was causing a conflict. So from there on, it was decided that we will not give out these temporary IDs directly to the requester, which is the student or the research scholar. We will give it to the department to set up what they need to set up. If for any reason the temporary ID letter gets to your hand, please do not use it for any other thing. Do not use it for anything else outside of you using it as a temporary ID for you to start working here in UTSA. Do not use it outside of UTSA. Do not use it, don't share it with nobody, because it will get you in trouble, it will get us in trouble. So if you see yourself using it for anything, oh, I need a credit card, oh, I need this, oh, I need that, my SSN is not here, I can use it. No, you cannot, please. Do not use it for anything outside of what it was given for. So now here to the main item to be discussed. We have two softwares. Software. I don't know if you can use S on the software, but we have this Glacier and Glacier Tax Prep. Glacier is a software we use to document the NRA's information. So this system really helps us to determine your tax eligibility and your status, everything. The country, it helps us when we plug in your information, put in the country you are from. It's set up to help us make sure that you're taxed correctly, and the information we get from here is what we transfer into PeopleSoft and make sure that you're set up correctly. And that's why we always will ask you to send us copies of your DS2019 or I-20 or I-94, the visa page of your passport, and letting us know when you came to the country as a J1 or F1, whatever your visa type is. The Glacier Tax Prep is a different tool from Glacier. The Tax Prep is a tool that NRAs use in filing their taxes. So this is a software purchased by International Program Office, and every year they renew the purchases so that NRAs will have a tool to file their taxes instead of going about looking for TurboTax when you're not supposed to use TurboTax, or using any other tool or Tax Act or any of those tools in the IRS web page and to file your taxes when you're not eligible to use it. Every November, I always will send out emails to those who are eligible for tax treaty to renew their tax treaty for the following year. I did send that last November. I sent it again in December, and I sent it again in January. Only one person that came to me and said, hey, why am I still taxed? I sent in my documents, and I apologized because I kind of transposed what taxes that is eligible to this person instead of renewing their tax treaty. I did something different this time around from what I was supposed to have been doing all these years. We have been always advised that if you do not get any feedback concerning the renewal of tax treaty from the students or from the research scholars, that you should allow taxes to start coming out of their paycheck until they renew. If they refuse to renew, is no longer your fault. Is something that you just have to allow taxes. So we can't just assume and allow the system to be the way it is. So this time around, I made sure that I ended every tax treaty for anybody that we didn't get back their response concerning renewing their tax treaty. All NRAs are eligible to use GTP, especially those with the student visas and the research scholars, unless you have met your substantial presence test, which GTP will let you know. So if you plug in your information and you say, oh, this is my 5th year, I'm not supposed to be using, I will advise you to wait for the access code to be given to you. Try it, put in your information. If it tells you, if it's grayed out and it tells you you can't use it, then you can now use any other tax software that is out there. But if you plug it in and it still is not grayed out, please use GTP to file your taxes. This will keep you in current and also in a consistent way of being in compliance with IRS as it regards to NRA taxes. Because, so this is from Glacier. They send us, they communicate with us all the time, and they send us all kinds of information letting us know what is happening, especially during the tax season. So because many institutions like ours, we have not yet released the Form 1042S, they decided to hold on to releasing the GTP until this week. So by Wednesday, they're going to release the access code for us. And the good news is that the IRS has probably finally agreed on the e-filing option of GTP. IRS has been holding back for the non-resident aliens not to file electronically. So, but it's been something that has been ongoing since I've been doing this. I think it's almost, actually December this year will make it 10 years that I've been doing this. So it's been one story or the other. So by Wednesday, by tomorrow, actually, tomorrow, Wednesday or so, I'll be able to find out if the e-filing option is actually going to happen this time around. If it's going to happen, or if they approve it 100%, that will be the awesomest thing I've ever seen, because it's going to be a much relief to all the NRAs printing out their documents and forgetting to go take it to the post office to mail it out. I don't want it happening anymore. So I know it's not an easy thing for one to be able to print and start looking for where the post office is when you've never heard about anything post office that still exists with all the technology going on right now. I'm going to send to Dr. Joshi and to Cynthia the PDF document they sent to us on the list and a list of dates and times that they will have live GTP Q&A session. They're going to have it throughout the tax season. I think they're going to have it up to June. And this tax session, I need to advise every one of you listening to me. I would want you to participate in this. Every tax question that you may ever have, I want you to attend any of the sessions that when you have the time to attend, and ask all the questions you have on taxes, because they're going to have tax lawyers, tax preparers, everybody that are tax professionals in that session or the sessions. So every question you have in regards to your taxes, they will want you to ask them during any of the sessions that you participate. Just like I said earlier, Glacier and GTP are two different software. So if that you have access to Glacier does not mean you have access to GTP. GTP requires an access code. You may be able to log in there now, but you won't be able to do anything right now because it has not been updated yet for the tax season. I put this slide in here for those who probably never filed taxes and they've been getting paid. So for 2023, 2022, or 2021, regardless of when, maybe from 2020, when you came to the US and you've been getting paid and never filed taxes, the GTP tax prep, you go to Arctic International, you go here and order GTP, and on here for individual, but this time around, you're going to pay since it's not for the current tax year. So this will be what for each of the years that you're going to be filing for. This is how much you're going to pay. Another item that came to us, if you were here 2020, 2021, and you just newly came to the country, as of 2020, 2021, you were regarded as an NRA. And all of a sudden, this year and this past year, 2024, or early this, January 2025, you got a message saying, oh, you have a check and they paid you out and it came from IRS. It's for recovery rebate credits, it's for tax credits and all that stuff. Please do not spend that money because it's not, you are not eligible for it. Kindly cross that check out with void written on it and return it back to IRS. If you do not do so, IRS are not fast in what they do, but surely they will get that money back from you when you do not expect it. So if you have received a paycheck from, money from IRS that wasn't your refund, but says recovery rebate credit, please return it back to IRS. You will say, oh, but I'm already a resident alien for tax purposes by 2023 or 2022 or 2024. I'm supposed to receive the money. No, you don't. You are not. As of 2021, you were a non-resident alien for tax purposes. Please return the money if it came to you. If you receive text messages or email or through social media telling you IRS said this to you, it's a scam. IRS will never text you. IRS will never email you. IRS will never send you any messages on social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, or Messenger, whatever social media that is out there. IRS will only send you a letter if there is anything they are needing from you. IRS will never, ever send you text message. IRS will never call you. IRS will never email you. IRS will never use any other form of communication except letters. They send letters, and once their letter comes to you, there's a peculiar number to that letter that comes to you, and they'll give you their own address of where you need to send your reply to. Or ask you, even if the only time you can even use a fax machine with IRS is if you call them and there is something they need to fix for you. They will now be the one to give you the fax machine number for you to fax whatever document they want you to fax to them, if that is applicable to what you're calling for. Other than that, they will not call you. You have to call them before they will answer you. They will not even call you back. If you tend to say, oh, let me leave a message, they will not call you back. So if you have any thing you really want to sort out with IRS, they have a satellite office on data point of Fredericksburg Road, down the street there. If you receive any text messages, email, or other form of communication, please do not click on it. Report it on this website that is here, tictar.gov/report-crime-misconduct. So again, IRS does not call, text, email. No, IRS does not do any of those. So anything you receive and say, oh, IRS did this and did that, is a scam. And that's it. Any questions? Or do we have any questions on the chat?
Thank you, Nanaya. I see a couple of questions on the chat. Can you access or shall I read it for you?
Yeah, I can see it. Let me see if I can. Okay, so with this session, also talk about process for resident aliens. So the resident aliens, you file your taxes like every other person. There's no special process. Go ahead and look for any software out there, or you look for any tax professional, or you can actually get on the tax sessions that Glacier will have and ask your questions there. They will be able to respond to you. I know that once you're a resident alien, you can file taxes online. What is the best online portal to file taxes for resident aliens? The common one everybody knows is TurboTax. So if you're able to use TurboTax, good and fine.
I think H&R Block also gives some.
Yeah, so there's a lot of them out there. But the best way for you is go to irs.gov and search for tax software that, they have a list also on there. So HRM Block, that's what I use. It makes me look like I'm a tax professional when I'm using it. My husband is like, we need to go look for tax professional to do our taxes. I don't think this thing is working. So, but it's just, he uses it to make fun of me because he thinks that I'm not getting all the refunds that he wants us to get. So, but anyways, that's the tool I've always used since I came back to the United States. And the TurboTax is a common one to every international student that I have known. And the ones they have there on the irs.gov. This one said, I have been living in the US with J1 visa for 6 years. During these years, I changed my J1 status from J1 research scholar to J1 student in August 2020. Do I need to fill non-resident or resident alien tax return for 2024? Excuse me. So it depends. It depends if when you made the change, if you were still here in the US or you traveled back to your home country and stayed a period of 1 year before coming back. So that affects it. So we can give you when GTP becomes available, we can give you access code to GTP and you plug in all that information. Whatever it tells you with the information you plug in is what you will do. So if it tells you, oh, you're no longer eligible to use GTP because you're now a resident alien for tax purposes, good and fine. Then you look for any tax software out there to use. If it says you're a non-resident alien, then you go ahead and use it to file your taxes. I really don't like to give a specific answer on this type of situation because it's always on a case-by-case basis. So the GTP is always the best tool for us to use to determine that. So I'm on J1 visa and my wife is on J2. She has no income in the United States. My total wages are under 20,000. Initially, I plan to file a joint tax return, but my wife does not have SSN. So I could not include her information. Can I file separately? And how should I handle the situation? Also, my green card was approved in 2024, but I had to wait several years before finally receive it. Okay, so first of all, it depends on when you received your green card. And if you were still using your J1 visa all this while before you got your green card, you will still need the tool to see what you need to file. So not sure how you've been filing your taxes before your green card came this year. And I'm not sure when particularly your green card came. As a J2 or F2, you're not allowed to work in the United States. So there will be no social security number given. If you're going to use GTP to file your taxes, it's just going to ask you it's going to ask you, do you have dependents? J2 dependent or F2 dependent, as the case may be, and will ask you to put in the person's name. So once you put in the person's name, it does not ask you for SSN because they know that they don't work, and it will just show that this person is here on this visa. So again, that your wife does not work is not the reason for you to file separately based on what I can say as a payroll professional. I would advise that you get on the live sessions that they're going to have for the tax filing and ask this specific question, and they will be able to guide you. I'll prefer that you do that because these professionals that are going to speak during these tax sections are, would I say, have a very vast knowledge when it comes to taxes and international aliens. So not to sound mean or anything, but not everybody in the IRS office knows everything that has to do with this type of taxation. And not everybody out there doing taxes for people knows about this type of taxation. So this group, I can tell you of a fact that they are very, very knowledgeable when it comes to this type of taxation. So I would advise, once I will send the document, I will send the list of dates and times to Dr. Joshi and to Cynthia. And I'm going to also, they don't have the Zoom link yet. We're going to receive it this week, as they said. So once they send the link as well, I'll forward it also, so that you make sure you attend it, and it will help you. Can you explain more tax treaty info about Pakistan? So Pakistan has only tax treaty for salary. So if you're getting paid through payroll, that's the only time you have tax treaty. If you're getting stipend, scholarship, or fellowship, and there's no tax treaty from Pakistan. There used to be, but it was taken away a few years ago. So it's the only one that was left alone was that of the salaries. Could I know more about the $49 for the app? The $49 is for if you're going to use GTP to file taxes for previous years that you didn't file your taxes. Say you didn't file taxes 2021, 2022, 2023, and you want to be caught up with your tax filing. That's when you go to that app to go use it, and each year you're going to end up paying for each year you missed filing. Can NRA only use GTP? Is it free for students? Yes. The NRAs use GTP. There's also another software by TurboTax called SpringTax. If you're using that, you have to pay them. But GTP is free for students here in UTSA. It's being bought by the International Program Office, and they make sure that all the students are aware of it. I got recovery rebate check from my from IRS at the beginning of this year. I have been filing taxes since 2019 tax year. Am I eligible? No, you're not eligible. At 2021, if you were here in the US 2019, and by 2021, you were still a non-resident alien for tax purposes. So you are not eligible for that check. You need to return that check back to IRS so that you don't get in trouble for that. I'm not sure why they made that mistake, but it's so alarming, and it become a thing of concern because Arctic International started receiving emails and messages that, hey, we received some check from IRS for the 2021 rebate. And they got concerned what the check was for. Some people spent the money, some was like, what's going on? Why am I receiving this? I think I only got a message from one person. And I actually said that I wasn't sure that she needs to find out what it is it for, because I wasn't sure about that. I didn't hear about it at the time. So by the time I got a message, I think I forwarded it to Ashley Wallace to forward to all the international students and let them know that they cannot spend the money. So as of 2021, you were a non-resident alien for tax purposes. You're not eligible for that check. J1 research scholar, started working in 2022 and didn't pay taxes, got treaty benefit between India and US. How would I pay the taxes this year? Would there be 3 IRS for 2022, 23, 24? And as I do not qualify for substantial presence test in 2022, would I be exempted from taxes in 2022? So unfortunately, if you're from India and you never went back, when you were supposed to go back and you stayed past the years, I will need to discuss, we need to talk about it differently, because it's not something that I can, how would I say? It's not something I can explain right now on what you need to do. Send me an email and I'll guide you on what you need to do concerning that. I already deposited, how would I return it? My best bet is that you would reissue a check and send and address it to IRS. If you still have that copy that you deposited, attach it to the check and return it back to the IRS. But let me see if there's any particular address that it needs to be returned to, and I'll forward that information. But I need to pull that email again that we received from Glacier on this, and probably forward it to Dr. Joshi and Cynthia so that they can circulate it to all of you as well. Will there be another Zoom meeting to review tax filing for UTSA employees who are US resident citizens? Not for, we don't do any tax filing review for resident aliens or US citizens. I think there's another group that does something like that here in the university. I'm not sure who. But that's not what we do. The only one we do is in regards to international students. But I know that there's one that happens here in the university, but I'm not 100% sure of the details. And that's the last question.
Thank you, Renaya. It's really such a complicated topic, and yeah, I cannot believe like that many countries and everybody's special situation, how
Oh, yes.
here, which visa. So yeah, but thanks to Renaya, and if you have a specific question, just send her email or communicate with her later, and I will share I think GTP and other programs details.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it with you.
And I will suggest that definitely go and attend their talks, because you have 2 more months. So they will be at several times. I think pretty every week they do one seminar. So attend that and ask your specific question that time. I know it's really hard for especially newcomer in this country. So yes, and then I assume, Nana, you are the only group, right, who helps. There are no special tax filing group here, correct?
For the international students, we are the for the international group, yes, we are the only ones that talk about it and be able to direct you on what to do, and and answer questions that they have. For the citizens, I know that there is always a tax I think I can't remember, but in the past, they've always had people that come in and help the students do free taxes and stuff like that. That for the citizens, but for the international group, we are the only ones that are able to answer questions and